Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bobcat Corner. This is episode number 86 of Bobcat Corner. And I want to keep it short and sweet for this episode. I'm just going to be talking about one real main topic here. But before I get into that, I want to remind you guys that I have a Ko-fi account, have a Ko-fi page. So for those of you that are already subscribed to me, if you feel led to, if you want to, you can go up to that Ko-fi page and make a donation. And also, I have Bobcat Corner Speak Up. That means if you can record up to 1 minute of an audio message pitching a topic that you would like for me and Mike Coleman to talk about in an upcoming Bobcat Corner, feel free to record it right then and there on the Telby link, and we will review that message. And if it sounds great, then we'll do it. So I will provide that information in the description box below, the links to those two things. But anyway, thank you guys so much for coming back here to Bobcat Corner, episode number 86, and we're just going to get right into it. And it has everything to do with this idea called saving college sports. Wow, what a wonderful name. You can tell I'm not enthusiastic about this. But anyway, let's just get right to it. The article I'm going to highlight here, I'm going to read a little bit of it for you guys right now, is this story by USA Today. One school says college sports is running out of time, quote unquote. What a bunch of alarmists. And this article was written by Blake Toppmeyer from USA Today. This was back on March 5th, but it's still relevant for right now. So let's just get started reading this. You've probably heard this college sports model is unsustainable. University of Louisville's president and other school administrators recently co-authored a panicky paper titled College Athletics is Running Out of Time, in which they lamented the insolvency, supposedly, of the enterprise and begged Congress, United States Congress, for help. Later this week, Donald Trump, and he's already done this, is scheduled to convene a roundtable under the banner of saving college sports. That's already happened, and that was a nothing burger. And so apparently that executive order was about as effective as at saving college sports as those bombs Trump ordered last June, and we're not going to get into that. Anyway, this is all sounding very dire, right? College sports on the precipice of financial ruin. Oh my. Blake making light of this. Why it's hard to take NCAA athletics crisis seriously. And it goes more into this. It goes beyond what just Blake says here. Let me just say this for you guys. Anyway, it's hard to take any of these college athletics panicins, quote unquote, seriously when they continue to blow through money like drunks in a casino. I do agree with that. Days after Louisville released its essay on the financial crisis plaguing college sports, Inc., its neighbor 80 miles away, the University of Kentucky in Lexington, announced it was strapping retiring athletics director Mitch Barnhart into a golden parachute and stuffing his pockets full of doubloons. Barnhart will transition into a role with a fancy title that basically translates to UK Kentucky athletics consultant. His salary? $950,000. Yeah, what a payout there. We're just going to skip ahead a little bit here. Louisville wants to borrow NFL salary cap. Just one problem. The Louisville administrators begging for congressional action also argued in favor of a hard and enforceable cap on student athlete payouts, akin to an NFL salary cap. Just one problem. The NFL has a collective bargaining agreement. College sports doesn't. Good luck, that's what he says, getting a cap that hampers athletes' earnings to hold up in court, according to Blake Toppmeyer. How about this, fellas? Congress can get to that hard cap on athlete compensation right after it puts a hard and enforceable spending cap on coaching and administrator salaries, plus a hard and enforceable cap on buyouts. Does that sound good? And he goes on to say this. A recent analysis from the Athletic found the buyouts from FBS head coach firings last season total nearly $270 million. Keep that number in mind. More than double the previous single season record. Some buyout costs can be mitigated through settlements or offset clauses, but that figure still speaks to the soaring rate of severance expenses. If we've got if we've got to have those precious federal guardrails I keep hearing about, how about some guardrails on failure money? Yeah. So I will provide a link to this article in the description box below so you guys can read it all in its entirety in your spare time. But my candid thoughts about this are no different than what they were last week in episode 85. This is a clown show. What's being proposed here with saving college sports, with Cody Campbell and the whole thing with the president and the entire cabinet of big names like Nick Saban and Charlie Baker, and getting all these, Power Four commissioners, seated at a round table. What are we doing here? This is one of my ultimate questions for you guys. What are we doing here? Saving college sports from what? What? We're going around in circles every single year trying to figure out a way to govern all this, whether it's tampering, the whole thing between Ole Miss and Clemson that I highlighted not too far back, whether it's tampering, NIL, transfer portal, you name it, generating revenue, having these collectives, making stadium upgrades. You can go down a long list of stuff that needs to be done, that needs to be taken care of if you run a college sports program of any kind. Doesn't matter what level, Division One, Division Two, Division Three, whatever. What are we doing here? And for the record, I want to make this clear. I don't approve right now of the status quo, what's going on with the Big Ten and the SEC calling the shots and dictating terms and basically micromanaging everything for everybody else. That's rich because they don't speak for everybody else. They pretend to speak for everybody else, but they don't. Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti, he only speaks for his conference. Same thing with Greg Sankey in the SEC. He only speaks for his conference. So the moment they say, oh, we're doing this for the entire good of college football, they're lying to you. They just are. They're con artists. They want to make money, and they want to make money for the sake of their conference, for the sake of their school presidents, and nothing more. It's just that simple. And they're being strung along by these TV networks, ESPN and Fox, to name a few. That's all there is to it. And obviously, you're not going to hear that from people like Bob Thompson, for example, retired Fox president. I mean, good guy. I enjoy listening to him when he gets interviewed by people, but retired TV executives are not going to tell you that kind of truth. That this is all about money and this is all about what can you do for the TV network. Forget about what the fans think. Forget about what your surrounding communities think. It's all about the money, guys. And so we circle back to Cody Campbell and his plan. I don't approve of his plan either. I think he's a clown. And I think it's a dangerous game you're trying to play by consolidating all these TV media rights for everybody, thinking that it's a one size fits all kind of thing, when in reality, it's not going to be that. And on top of that, you're asking the Big Ten and the SEC to give up their autonomy, which I'm telling you right now, guys, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen like this. No, it's not going to happen that easy anyway. So I would much rather see the Big Ten, the SEC go their own ways and go into their own silos, which I pretty much think it's going to happen anyway, regardless of what happens with this Cody Campbell plan, which is a joke in my opinion. And I think everybody that attended that roundtable discussion with President Trump and whoever else, they're all wasting their time. It was a photo op. And I'm sorry, but we are spinning our wheels trying to chase an imaginary carrot or block of cheese just so we can get back to square one and get back to the same talking point. We're just getting back to the same talking point and we're not accomplishing anything. And all the while, the NCAA doesn't know how to get out of its own way when it comes to legal battles, lawsuits, and you have all this crap going on with the with conference realignment. And I just heard recently that Louisiana Tech got into an issue with Conference USA They have agreed to join the Sun Belt Conference. They want to be part of the Sun Belt for football. But Conference USA is coming back saying, oh, no, you can't do that because we got bylaws and what have you. I'll talk a little bit more about that in the next part. But you have all this craziness happening in college sports right now. You have so many people and so many entities going in so many different directions, like this, that, or other way. And what are we accomplishing? It's certainly not doing anything for the group of six conferences. Nobody cares about the group of six conferences as far as I'm concerned, especially not for football. So when I read this article here by Blake Toppmeyer, here's my point about this. University of Louisville, I find it interesting that they spoke up in support of this thing run by Cody Campbell. They're wrong, by the way, but I just find it interesting that Louisville, of all schools, stood up and spoke out in a positive way about this. Why them, you ask? Well, as it is, Louisville has no shot whatsoever of making it to either the Big Ten or SEC. That ain't happening. That's not happening. And the best that Louisville can do at this point is to make a lateral move from the ACC to the Big 12, which, of course, Cody Campbell supports. He's a Big 12 guy, Texas Tech. So the only thing that I can see coming out of this for Louisville, the only benefit that could be had for Louisville is that they get to make that lateral move to the Big 12 eventually. Not much of a big jump there in quality, but there you go. And I just don't see this being the answer. I don't see consolidating media rights for everybody under one umbrella. I don't see it working. Definitely not long term. And when you give up control of this to the government, look throughout history, guys, with all these other deals in other industries. Once you give the government control of something, it's nearly impossible for the government to give it back to you. I'm just saying, we play a dangerous game here, and eventually, guys, we're going to get bit. We're just going to get bit really hard by this. So anyway, that's what I think about this. And Blake Toppmeyer, he does make a few good points here in this article. And in some of it, I echo what Blake says. It's like, yeah, basically, what are we doing here? Saving college sports from what exactly? From ineptitude? From people who don't know what they're doing? From blatant mismanagement? What are we saving college sports from exactly? Or are we just spinning our wheels? Think about it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 86. And basically, what this part is about is just a short rundown of topics in college sports to top this episode off. Miami of Ohio having an $8 to $10 million budget for their funding for football only. Louisiana Tech having issues trying to get out of Conference USA to join the Sun Belt. That's another thing. And also the SEC trying to get into their own silo, supposedly. What do all of those things have in common? Well, it's all part of an ever-changing landscape in college sports, and to be honest with you guys, brace for impact. In my opinion, brace for impact, because there's a lot of jockeying for position. You can classify this as my bottom line, so to speak. There is a lot of jockeying for position going on in college sports. College football is no different. And basically what you're getting is that you have all these schools trying to find the safety net that's right for them. In the case of Louisiana Tech, they're trying so hard to get out of the Conference USA. They reached an agreement with the Sun Belt. They want to play in the Sun Belt for football. But Conference USA officials are like, no, you can't do that right now. We have bylaws in place that prevent you from doing that this year, 2026. And that is, to be blunt, that is pissing off Louisiana Tech officials. No surprise there. You have lawsuits being tossed about between both sides. I'll provide links in the description box below about that so you guys can get more information about that. But the roundabout point that I'm trying to make here in closing
is that you have a lot of miscommunication going on between all parts of FBS level football, NCAA Division One especially, the SEC as a whole. From what it sounds like, they're just really disgusted with the whole thing, and obviously they're not happy with the fact that not everybody else is willing to go along with whatever they have planned. I mean, not everybody's going to agree with you with what you propose in a board meeting, but there again, SEC leadership, the school presidents, ADs, and of course Commissioner Greg Sankey, they did this to themselves. They did this to themselves. I mean, they have all the power still. They are the number one head honcho right now in college sports. But even though you wear the king's crown, so to speak, it doesn't mean you're automatically right. And that is one thing that the SEC over time has refused to acknowledge. And that is a problem that is going to keep coming back to bite them if they don't learn from that. So SEC, if they want to go into their own silo and just play each other for an entire football season, that's fine. I'm at the point of accepting that. That's fine. They can do that. But don't automatically assume that everybody else is just going to accept what you're giving them. It just doesn't work that way. And I just wish that the SEC officials in general would stop acting like they speak for everybody else, like they speak for the entire sport of college football, when it's painfully obvious they don't. And circling back to Miami of Ohio having an $8 to $10 million budget for football, I'm not surprised by that, to be honest with you. They are in the Cincinnati, Ohio area, so of course they'd have some donors here and there contributing to that budget. But that is a wake-up call to our school, the Ohio Bobcats, Ohio University, that we need to step up our game as well when it comes to funding, when it comes to budgeting. We got to step up our game because Miami of Ohio, yet again, they're not going to get out of the way for any sport. They're not going to get out of the way. That's a warning shot. When I read that recent report about Miami of Ohio having that budget, $8 to $10 million, I was like, yeah, that's a warning shot. So hopefully that's a wake-up call to Ohio University. So anyway, guys, I'm going to close off this episode. If you like this content, please give this a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up. Share this content with your friends and family and other football fans. I'll be back soon. Take care, guys.
Conference realignment can be quite the sea, quite the terrible sea, don't you see? Play on words. Sean Jakowski here. No squeaks allowed. I just did it. But yes, I have a special guest that I want to introduce to you as part of the team of the Randenburg Tavern, even though we're underwater. Come out here, buddy. Sham Williams. Sham Williams here. Happy to be here. Yes, conference realignment and governance in college sports can be quite the terrible sea. Like all the seven seas of the world, every ocean out there. You know why that is, Sean? Yes, I do know. But answer the question anyway. We're down in the deep blue sea and we're just getting by. Down in the deep blue sea, hey, no squeaks about it now, hey.